All right, everyone, let's jump right into this. We're doing a detailed breakdown of Chapter 102 of the Bibliomancers saga, and this one is an absolute roller coaster. We're talking high-stakes deals, a seriously awkward dinner party, and a huge decision that's going to change everything for our heroes. So, the chapter is called Distrust Support, and it wastes absolutely zero time, throwing us right into the thick of it. The scene opens and Jack is ambushed in their own room by a very familiar and very, very dangerous face from their past. And there she is. It's Nyx, the demon who used to torture Jock. She has just materialized out of thin air, and she is furious. Why? Because Jock missed their daily appointment, which, was a bizarre deal for 1 minute of torture. Jock is trying to, calm things down, explaining they didn't just bail. They were teleported away against their will. But right in the middle of this super tense reunion, things get a whole lot more complicated when their girlfriend Frida walks into the room. Nyx, always want to stir the pot, immediately tries to use Frida to mess with Jack. But Frida, she is completely unintimidated. She does the absolute last thing anyone expects. She just drops her robe, leaving both the demon and Jack completely and utterly stunned. What happens next has got to be one of the strangest and fastest negotiations I have ever read. Frida just completely takes control of the situation. She turns what was supposed to be a session of demonic torture into, a masterclass in bargaining. See, Frida's got one goal and one goal only: get Jack out of this. She spots a tiny crack in Nyx's whole tough demon act, and she just goes for it, flipping the entire power dynamic with a series of just brilliant counteroffers. I mean, just look at this progression. It's genius. First, Frida agrees to take the verbal heat to protect Jack physically. Then, she cleverly offers to help with the torture, but only non-painful stuff, of course, to cut the time. And finally, the masterstroke, a dinner invitation. She completely disarms the entire situation. And get this, Nyx isn't just defeated. She's genuinely impressed. Really impressed by Frida's nerve and how clever she is. She actually agrees to the dinner, but she has one condition. Any of the shocking, inappropriate things she wants to say have to be whispered only into Frida's ear. And just like that, a deal is struck. So after Nyx vanishes, you really see the huge difference between Jacques and Frida. Jacques is horrified that Frida would even offer to listen to Nyx's comments. But Frida, she's got this world-weary calm about her, and she points out two really important things. One, Nyx's harassment is nothing compared to what she hears from men every single day. And two, and this is the big one, the demon was clearly looking for any excuse not to torture Jacques. Okay, so let's move on to this dinner party because the tension is just wow. Jack is now terrified, but not of torture. No, they're terrified of what a literal demon is going to say or do in front of their very proper grandmother. And the way this is set up is just brilliant. Nyx shows up with this huge bouquet of roses that she puts right in the middle of the table. It's so big it creates a perfect privacy screen. She's basically engineered this little zone of chaos at one end of the table, completely hidden from Grandma's view. Of course, that crazy tension doesn't last long because you've got Groucho the chimp. He immediately breaks the ice with his signature charm, which kicks off this whole chain reaction of witty, flirty, and kind of scandalous banter, mostly between him and Nyx. And pretty soon, all that playful teasing turns its focus right onto Jacques. Frida and Nyx actually find some common ground in just ganging up on Jacques, talking about how easily they get flustered and blush. Right here, in the middle of all this social madness, Jack has this incredible moment of self-awareness. They realize that in super high-stress situations like this one, their ADHD symptoms just, poof, they vanish. They're replaced by this state of intense, laser-like focus. And this isn't just a quirky little detail. It's a really key insight into how Jack's mind works, how it adapts to survive, by turning a potential weakness into a focused strength when it really, really counts. So after dinner's over and the guests are all gone, the whole vibe just shifts dramatically. Jack and Frida are finally alone, and you just know it's time for a very, very serious conversation about what happens next. Frida just lays it all out. She knows Jacques is going back to that dangerous tower, and she flat out declares, "I'm going with you." Jacques' immediate reaction is, of course, protective. A flat out no, absolutely not, it is way too dangerous. But Frida, she was ready for that. She comes back with this just incredible argument. She points out that Jacques respected their grandfather's choice, his agency. They even respected a chimp's free will. And as their partner, she argues she deserves that exact same right to choose her own path and face the risks right alongside them. And, I mean, you can't argue without logic. Jacques is completely won over. They are terrified for her safety, absolutely, but they're also just so deeply moved that she's willing to risk everything to be with them. And just like that, the quest has a new companion. But you know how these things go? You solve one huge, life-altering problem, and another one just pops right up to take its place. It's the next morning, and Jacques is just trying to process the massive reality that Frida is coming with them into the tower when it hits them. This sudden kind of heart-sinking realization. And that's the cliffhanger the chapter leaves us on, with both Jacques and Frida heading straight into danger. Who is going to take care of the kitten, the one they named Nixie after the demon? It's such a small domestic worry, but in this moment, it feels enormous. And it leaves us with this critical question. In a world full of magic and demons, is it even possible to protect everything and everyone you love?